Michael, how are all the lads who are away on international duty, how are they all looking?
Yeah, obviously come back different stages. Had boys travelling different distances, playing different games. Some played 3 games, some didn't play. So it's just taking today, tomorrow to kind of assess that and seeing where they're at physically, mentally, and who's fresh and ready to go on Saturday.
I suppose it's a sign of how well you guys are doing that you've got so many away.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and it was great. I think it's great to have them back and hopefully in one piece. But at the same point, it's nice for them to go and experience that, different experiences for them, and it means a lot to them individually. So fantastic. They go with our blessing, wish them all the best. Hopefully they've played well or play well when they leave us and come back in good spirits. So yeah, we're looking forward to having everyone back and ready for the next step.
Aidan Hackney played in the first game for Scotland, 21s. I don't think he was involved in the second. Is he okay?
Yeah, Hayden's fine. Yeah, he played an hour in the first game, and it's a bit of a balance as well. It's a new experience for him. He's delighted to be up there and learning new type of football, different styles, and new experience of playing different opposition. So it's brilliant for him, and there's a little bit of managing as well of his load. He's still a young boy. It's his first main breakthrough season. He played pretty much every minute for us as well. So there's a constant balance really when you got to look after the younger players especially.
Just 8 games to go now until the end of the season, I guess, hopefully for you, if you don't have to go into the playoffs. What are you saying to them? What's the message you're putting across to the players now in this final push?
What's the message? I think it's can we get better? Can we improve? I think it's not a time of year for lowering the intensity and gradually peeling off. I think for us it's the opposite really. We want to be the boys that have been here this week have trained incredibly hard and kind of cranking up the intensity and still pushing for more, and that comes from them as much as anything. And we've had some good results, we've had some good performances, and I think with that you get that feeling the boys are hungry for more and a little bit greedy and are enjoying that feeling of playing well and winning. And doesn't come easy. Doesn't mean it'll happen again easily on the weekend, but it's putting things in place, to be honest, to be able to perform and do things right, and they've done that. I can't question them, I can't fault them in any way. So it's carry on as you are, keep pushing and trying to become better.
You've been there and done it as a player so many times. How much of your experience are you imparting on the players to try and assist them and to try and help them get over the line and end up where they want to be or where you want them to be?
Yeah, of course, I'm here to help and guide. It's not something that it's a lecture every day of what to do, how to act, how to behave. But it's certainly there's times, there's moments throughout my time here when we've had good results, had not so good results of managing and having the balance of the mood and that psychological element really of staying in the zone. And I've not had to do it much, if at all, because the boys have been so good at staying stable and level-headed.
I can't remember whether you were here or not. It was the game before, I think, you took over Huddersfield, the 0-0 draw at the Riverside. I'm not sure whether you were there or whether you watched it afterwards, but it was a 0-0 draw at the time. Nothing much happened. I don't think anyone would have expected the transformation that we've seen. When you look back and you think to where you were, where your mind was back then, Can you believe? Can you take in the transformation that's taken place since then?
Certainly believe it. Yeah, certainly believe it. I think didn't have a major target. Coming in, it was more of working with the players, settling in at the club, seeing how we could develop, how we could improve. Me personally, and with my staff and with the players, and take it step by step. And I was genuinely positive and excited and. Who knows where it'll take us in the end.
Of course, Neil Warnock's taken over at Huddersfield since then. He was in this job just a couple of years ago. I think he signed, in fact, I think he might even have signed Chuba, did he not? So he's giving you your top scorer, but he knows a few of the players pretty well.
Yeah, of course, both ways. Some of the boys know him ever so well, and of course he knows the boys the same. And he's got a wealth of experience. He's been in the game an awful long time, and seen a lot of things and experienced a lot of success with his teams, and he's clever, he's smart, he knows football, he knows and yet you say he knows our players, so it'll be a tough challenge for us because they've had a couple of good results over, especially of late, and good performances. So we're going there expecting a really tough game and a tough challenge, especially with Neil looking after them and leading them.
I wonder if did you speak to him before taking the job at all? Did you speak to Neil before?
No, I didn't know.
Just looking at his record, he's 1,610 matches in charge as a manager. I think you're probably around about the 30 mark. Do you think you'll ever get anywhere near that?
Long way to go, that, isn't it? I'm going grey just thinking about it.
Unbelievable to think, though, isn't it? Like he's
yeah, it's staggering. I think it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not an easy industry or business, if you like, sport, obviously, to stay at that level that he has done for so long in that role. I think the ups and downs over the years that you kind of go through, and to be in that over a period of time is incredible, and shows the love of the game that he must have to keep going and to going and pushing and to be part of things, and he's doing a fantastic job right now. And
just finally, you've got that gap down to 3 points, albeit that you've played that game more. I guess it's just all about just keeping the pressure on for as long as you can now.
Yeah, we can only do what we do. We can only concentrate on ourselves. We can only prepare for each game, and I've said it for some time now. The league will take care of itself. Where we end up, we're going to end up. We can pick up as many points as we can, and we can try and play as well as we can. And it's exciting, of course it is. There's no hiding from that. It's a great place to be. It's a privilege to be fighting, and when you got opportunity, you're being successful in different ways, and the boys are relishing the opportunity at the moment.
Thanks, Michael. Cheers.
Michael Andrew from the BBC. That game that Keith spoke about, the game against Huddersfield last time out in October, just before you joined, was a really tight affair, scrappy affair. Now Huddersfield are still scrapping for their lives. You're obviously sailing up the table. So what kind of game can we expect this time round?
It's difficult to say. I think we're genuinely expecting a really tough game. I think the way they play makes it very difficult to play against. I think it's been proven over recent weeks, and tough place to go and get a result with a very good manager. So yeah, we've played well. We've had some good results, and the boys are in good spirits, in good form. But that's not taking anything for granted. It'll be a tough game. It might be a really tight game. The chances are it probably will be a tight game, and we'll have to take our opportunities as and when they come.
I mean, Huddersfield typically under Warnock sit behind the ball. They let the team, their opponents have possession. In fact, I think they have the lowest possession stats in the Championship under Warnock. So, is that the kind of game you're expecting? Do you think?
Yeah, quite possibly. As I said, the Millwall game was a prime example of possession doesn't win you games. It gives you an element of control if you want to play that certain way. Some teams don't need the possession to be dangerous, and you can be dangerous in certainly other ways. So we'll have to be wary of that. Of course, if we have a lot of possession, then we'll have a lot of possession. It's what we do with it. When we have it, that's the difference, and they'll be thinking the same. That's always the challenge.
Going back to the international players, I mean, Riley McGree has gone all the way to Australia and back. Fans will be wondering whether that's a brutally long journey, whether he'll be fit on Saturday.
Yeah, it's a long journey. Obviously, he's looked after. He's got a nice bed on the plane, probably. But yeah, of course, it's a long journey. There's no hiding from that, and we'll have to see how Riley is when he gets back, and have a look at him and see how fresh he is. He played one game when he was out there. So great for him to go back, especially after the World Cup and the success that they had, to go back and enjoy that with his friends, his family and the squad. But he'll come back raring to go, and we'll make a call on that. I think we've in a position where we have got options, and we do have the squad that makes it difficult to pick a team at times. So we'll pick the best what we can.
Thanks, Michael.
Hi, Michael. Did you get a chance to kind of check in with the lads and see how they got on international duty? Have you had a chance to kind of watch their performances, and if so, what have you made of them? Yeah,
obviously I've checked in with the boys, yes. In terms of watching all the games, I'm not one to sit down and watch all the boys' games, how they played away. I think it's, of course we speak to them. I speak to them when they were away, in contact, make sure they're all right. but at the same point giving that little bit of freedom and they've got to go away and play well and enjoy where they're playing and enjoy that experience. So as long as they all come back in good shape and ready to go, which I'm sure they will, or hopeful that they will, then that's what we're worried about, that's what we're concerned about, and that's what we're looking forward to, getting them back and going again.
And just in terms of the league, obviously you've had 2 weeks off with the international break. How much of a barrier is that to just picking up where you left off, or is it just a case of players coming in and trying to keep that mindset that you had before the break?
Yeah, it's a break. It's a break, but it's kind of not. We've still trained. We've had the boys have had some days off and managed to have a bit of a breather. But at the same point, training's training. We've still trained as hard, if not even harder, over the last week or so. Because we have to. We've got to keep that intensity. We've got to keep that edge. We've got to keep pushing. And so it's not so much a rest and a switch off. It's actually it's a refocus and a re-energise and. If anything, try and become that little bit fitter, stronger, sharper, and ready to go again.
We're coming towards the sharp end of the season now. I know you said that the league positions will look after themselves, but have you got a sense of what it would mean to the town to have a playoff run or to go up?
Yeah, of course. There's no hiding for we know what it would mean to everyone. It's any team in this division is trying to get out of it by getting promotion, and we're certainly the same, and the support we've had has been pretty special, and I'm sure it'll continue to do that towards now and the end of the season, whatever the outcome, going into next season, whatever league we're in. It's building that foundation, that connection with the fans, and they've been incredible, the support that they give us, and I think you can see that the boys are feeding off it, and then that goes snowballs, and then the fans feed off the boys playing well and feeding that energy. So it takes time sometimes to build good results, good performances, good support, and over time we can keep improving together.
And just a quick word on Johnny Howson as well, getting that new contract. Fans were obviously delighted to have him extend his stay here. Just what does he mean to this team and to the club more broadly, I suppose?
Yeah, he's been fantastic, Johnny, since I came. He's a real stable character, and just a real joy to have in and around the group and in the team. I think he's got an awful lot of experience. He's quiet in many ways, but he commands a huge amount of respect from the squad, and each and every player appreciates him and respects him. And when he does say something, they all tend to listen, which is a sign of a good leader, really. And his performances on the pitch, how he's looked after himself at the age he is, which is kind of irrelevant. The age is the age, but it's about what condition is he in, what kind of performance is he giving, and he's been fantastic pretty much every game. So I look forward to more of Johnny in the months ahead.
Just on Johnny, different managers obviously look for different things in players, like different players, but throughout his time here, throughout various managers, he's played, he's always been in the team. Does that say everything about him as a character and as a player?
Probably, yeah. I think generally he's just a real rounded, good footballer, Johnny. Understands the game, real sense of what people say, reading of the game, if you like. Bit of nous and knowledge and understanding of football intelligence, and coupled with that, good ability, but attitude and understand what it takes day in, day out to be able to sustain a level of performance and being able to adapt over the years. And as I said, he's a real credit to himself for how he's gone about that, and still to this day, and hopefully for much longer, then he's able to perform.
Do you remember playing against him?
Vaguely, yeah. He says I injured him once, actually, in a tackle. Apparently, yeah. He's all right now.
Because he said, we spoke to him earlier this year, and he said when he played against you, it made him realise the importance of doing the simple things well. Is that something you've passed on to the players, and in particular the midfielders, since you came in?
Yeah, I try to. I mean, when you do break football down, it is simple. It's not so much easy to do, but you can break it down, and it can sound quite simple at times. There's a balance between, for me, not giving the boys so much information that complicates things, but giving them enough where they can give them a platform to perform, and they understand the tactics and they understand the structure that we're playing to. But at the same point, there's an awful lot of freedom in there to trust the players for their own attributes and abilities to then go and express themselves. But yeah, of course, you know, an element of stripping it back. So it's simple enough is a big part of what we do. Yeah.
When talking about that, kind of what Johnny learned from playing against you, was there any players, I know you learn something from every game, but was there any players in particular where you've come away from a game and you remember really picking something up or really noticing something about someone else?
There's a few times of that, yeah, some good, some not so good. Playing with Scholesy, to be fair, day in, day out, playing against him initially, obviously, for when I wasn't at United, and then getting to United day in, day out, training with him was yeah, day in, day out, watching him training and learning off him without him realising it. You know, he picking things up all the time. Playing against Barcelona was tough learning curve, but was learning. You know, we had 1 or 2 good results against them, and then a couple not so good. Playing against the Xavis, Iniestas, and you know, incredible footballers. Seedorf was one that I took a lot from when we played against him. And but I think it's not so much the ones that spring to mind. It's just the overall people talk about experience. It's things that kind of drip feed into your brain that you're not necessarily blatantly aware of, but that is experience in time, because you kind of that knowledge that you build up over time. And Johnny's played a lot of games. Going back to Johnny's played a lot of games and a lot of different types of football, so he's got a real good kind of library of knowledge to draw on and help the younger boys now. Being in the position that he is, he can pass that on to them below him.
And last one, looking back at your career, did you play against the Warnock team?
Yeah, I would have. Yeah.
So I was looking back, just trying to like put the years together. What was it like to play against the Neil Warnock team?
The one I can remember most was the Sheffield United one, actually, when they ended up getting relegated because we got beat off West Ham at the end of the season. Yeah, so yeah, I suppose that didn't go down too well with them, unfortunately. But yeah, obviously hard to play against. You know, hard working, well organised, tough to play against. Can't remember playing one where you end up winning really well or easily. It's always a tough game, and that's what we'll expect again on Saturday. Just
take you back to the Huddersfield game earlier in the season, obviously just before you came in. What was your mindset then? As kind of a manager who's just starting out, how important is the first job and getting it right? And at the start of this season, did you know this is the season you want your first full-time job or permanent job, or was it a case of we'll see and judge each opportunity as it potentially crops up?
It was kind of see and judge what came up. I genuinely wasn't desperate to get back involved. I wasn't chasing to be in this position. I was enjoying the time off for the family at that stage and trying to kind of regroup, refresh, and see what was next. I was in a position that like this, where if an opportunity came along that I couldn't turn down and felt so right, then I was able to take it, because done my badges and kind of gained a bit of experience. But at the same point, it wasn't everything, you know. And until this comes along, and then all of a sudden quickly becomes everything, and you're writing and absolutely loving it now. But in terms of how important it is for a manager's first job, you know, listen, this is my first job. I'm not in a position to talk about, you know, that, because I'm very inexperienced when it comes to that. So I'm just taking each day as it comes and trying to plan for now, plan for the summer, plan towards next season, and try to be better myself and improve the squad as we go. But I'm still learning each and every day. The boys are learning, we're learning off each other, and it's a great journey that we're on at the moment.
And you said there about Borough being the right opportunity. What made this the right club then?
It's a very difficult question to answer, because sometimes I actually don't know. It just feels right. Yeah, feeling instinct was always the bigger decisions throughout my life. I've not over thought them. I've just kind of gone with what feels right. don't know why. Sometimes it feels right. And obviously knowing the club and the history and the stability within the club of Steve and the North East, and knowing what it means to people football in this area, and being here as a kid, there was a lot of things that kind of fell naturally into place. So, but there wasn't really one thing that stood out.
I was spoken a lot there about your experiences and the importance of experiences, and also your kind of mentality and an approach to the running. I mean, that kind of level-headed, one game at a time approach that you are taking, is that something that kind of has come through your past experiences in the game and having that success?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I think probably until I got, I'd say, to United and having kind of run-ins where there's a lot at stake. I think that I learnt off the players that were there already. I obviously learnt a huge amount from the manager in terms of how to go about it. Different characters, different personalities, but kind of still you can learn a lot and put things in kind of how I thought about things. So I learned a lot over that in that period of time, and I think you learn a lot about yourself, and the players will learn a lot about themselves in the next few weeks. Of how we cope with it individually as a group. Hopefully they'll enjoy the experience, but I think you do learn in these situations about yourself and how you cope with it.
Yeah. Do you think in terms of yourself there was kind of a natural, if you like, evolving between your first Premier League title and how you were in the run-in for that one to the fifth, and how you were in the run-in to that one?
Yeah, I think you probably... Yeah, you're different. I think each one's different as well. There's a different kind of experience each time. Fortunately, we won the league. Was probably slightly different. But yeah, I think that comes from experience. Like you say, the first one was, if you had asked me after winning the first one, that before I won it, I would have thought that was my everything. That was I've achieved it. Unbelievable, fantastic. That's it. Now I can kind of, whatever happens next is irrelevant. Whereas once you win it, or once I won it, it wasn't enough. And I wanted more, and you kind of get greedy, like I've talked about in here before. So it's that in itself, I learned that it wasn't enough. So the next time comes round, and you forget about the last one, and you want the next one, and you want the next one, which is what I talk about for every game. Really, you're breaking it down. Every game's the same. Whatever we've won last, you want it feeling again of winning a game again. So that's why step by step's important.
Yeah, and is it good, you've mentioned that, like obviously the mix, the different characters in the United dressing room at that time. He is very similar. You've got young players, you've got older experienced players. Is it good to have that mix where, different types of characters, different approaches?
Yeah, of course. I think you all understand the same, playing for the same thing in the same way. Of course, there's got to be a collective kind of direction that you're going in, but without doubt, having different characters and personalities, and you need that within the group. You need some boys that are a bit quieter, you need some boys that are a bit louder and joking and messing around at times, and other boys that are a bit more serious to get the balance, and that just brings out the best dynamics within the group.
And just looking back at the kind of past week or so here with training, obviously presume it was a bit of a smaller group with all the boys with. So how's that been in terms of working in those dynamics?
Yeah, good. Yeah, we still had a big group actually. We still had good numbers, and 12, 14, 16 over various days, and the boys have worked really hard. They had a few days off, but worked ever so hard. So it was a really strong group that was still left. So yeah, it felt pretty a normal week in many ways.
Well, I know before the international break you mentioned you wanted to keep that edge, you wanted to keep that intensity up, and I know you mentioned that a little earlier as well. Is that a little harder to do when it's a bigger than usual gap?
It would be if it depending on the group of players you got, but not with a group of players. I think they've been the way they go about the day-to-day training. It's I speak about it all the time, but it's genuine. I think that their attitude and the approach to training and improving is incredible, and so it doesn't make it difficult because they almost look after themselves in many ways with that in terms of approach and coming in and day to day. So it's brilliant. It's great to see. Yeah,
just on the injury front, has the break got Matt Clark any closer?
No, Clarkie's not much closer at the moment, so he won't be back for a little bit longer. So other than that, I'm hopeful that everyone else is up to speed.
Have you had a chance to see Sonny Finch yet? I think he went off for the England under-8.
Yeah, he's getting assessed at the moment. Yeah, so doesn't look too good early on for Sonny in terms of being available over the next week or two. Such a shame after scoring as well and going off so early, and he's been training with us a lot. He's obviously came on a pitch for us, so it's a blow. It's a disappointing one. But we look after him. We're getting fit again, and hopefully getting back before the end of the season.